All right, so now the NFL is piling on Brian Branch. Absolutely ridiculous.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, what's happening? Matt Derry with you. It is a Friday edition of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day on a Friday, October 17th, into the weekend, the freaking weekend. And Saturday, October 18th, Lions will play Monday night against the Tampa Bay Bucks at Ford Field at 7 o'clock. Joe Buck, Troy Aikman, the Monday night crew coming in from ESPN and ABC, a game for those of you that don't have cable, you can watch on Channel 7. But great to have you along on this Friday edition. Again, Matt Derry with you. Been with you since 2016 doing this show every single day. We bring you opinions, great guests, and of course, listeners as well. We love our everyday out there. Call of the day yesterday, which we appreciate. Maybe a Wednesday we did a call of the day. We had our crossover Thursday yesterday with James Yarko from Locked On Bucks. If you missed yesterday's show, please go back on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel or wherever you get your podcasts and check that out. Got to give a quick shout out University Elling. We appreciate James for checking us out every day. Luke Meyer, James's buddy, also a big line. No relation. Dylan Meyer, great dude. Vac King. I loved the whole every day. Up on the show, this Brian in the news, and the NFL screwed up in a big way. And I've got to defend Branch. We're going to do that coming up. Practice tomorrow. Again, they don't have to make their injury designations until a day later because they're not playing until Monday. Got all the keys to win and Bucks. The show about Joe Flacco because the Joe Flacco story is absolutely crazy if you watch last night's Bengals victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers. But let's start with this. All right. We know Brian Branch is not playing Monday night against the Bucks. He has been suspended one game for his poor conduct last Sunday night for shoving Juju Smith-Schuster of the Chiefs in the face, starting a big fight after the game. The NFL levied the suspension very early in the week on Monday, said it was bad conduct and no place for it in the game. And that should have been it. All right. Now, Branch did appeal. All right. And to Brian's detriment, some of his comments that he made Sunday night weren't the best in terms of his apology. He knew he screwed up, but he was also kind of trying to defend himself, which there's no defending trying to start a fight at the end of a game. All right. But he was saying that he got punked by Smith-Schuster a couple times during the game. Regardless, this should have been the end of this story. Fast forward to the other day, we talked about Dan Campbell and how he was told on the sidelines that the league heard from New York and the officials heard from New York. Touchdown. There's just been controversy. Then yesterday, I call it Twitter. It comes out yesterday that the NFL and NFL Films put out a tweet, all right, from, again, NFL Films, and it showed a video of Brian Branch talking after the game. They call it NFL Turning Point on ESPN Plus, and Louis Riddick from ESPN put a little video together with NFL Films breaking down the rough night that Brian Branch had in the loss to the Chiefs. And basically, it was Louis Riddick narrating almost lowlights of the entire night of Brian Branch. Here's Brian Branch getting beat by Travis Kelce. Here's Brian Branch getting shaken by Xavier Worthy. Here's Brian Branch getting Juju Smith-Schuster. Here's Brian Branch getting cold-cocked from behind by Schuster. From NFL Films, posted on Twitter. It was terrible. We know he's being suspended. We know he didn't have a good night. Why are you piling on a player like this? Absolutely egregious and quite honestly, grotesque. Suspension. Now we're piling on Thursday on Twitter with a hit piece video. Very unbecoming of the NFL, and so unbecoming that the league and NFL Films deleted the video and the tweet hours later, explaining on a different tweet, quote, or no, per an NFL spokesman, quote, NFL Films wants all of its shows to have a distinct voice. In the case of NFL, that was Louis Riddick's. He spends time every week with the show's producers, watching each segment and going over the script before narrating them. That particular sequence felt different to NFL Films as part of a 9-minute breakdown of the Lions-Chiefs game than it did as a standalone excerpt on social media. On X, it felt overly critical to Brian Branch, so it was taken down. Thank you to Rachel Hopmeyer from CBS, Big 62, for posting that today. Now, so NFL Films admits they're piling on a player and they took it down. Now Louis Riddick, everybody knows Riddick has been Oddcast. He used to join me on 105.1 back in the day. I'm a Lou Riddick guy. But even Louis Riddick now has come out with a statement today on Twitter at L Riddick ESPN. Quote, the Detroit Lions organization is one that I have nothing but respect for, ownership, head coach, general manager, and players. Fast forward to this week, the Turning Point episode that was voiced by me recently that covered the Chiefs-Lions game didn't come across the way it should have. Group, document the events of game, good and bad. There is never, in all caps, an intent to do a hit piece on anyone or any team. That being said, I can see how the short clip that was posted could be taken as an attempt to cast the Lions or Brian Branch in a calculated, unfavorable manner. I don't want to be a part of that. I will be sure to make certain that anything that has my name attached to it will never again leave room for it to be interpreted that way in the future. End quote. What a joke. Why does this happen to us? Why does this happen to the Lions? Could you imagine if this happened to Jackson Dart, the cool, pretty boy Giants quarterback in the big city of New York? Imagine if this happened to Jalen Hurts or Saquon Barkley in the big city of Philadelphia with that media and what they would say about this if that happened. The league would never do a hit piece on Mahomes, or as Chris Collinsworth calls him, Mahomes, or a Travis Kelce. This is disgusting. And I'm coming to the defense of the Lions. I will not defend Brian Branch and his actions after the game the other day. But the kid is serving a 1-game suspension, and he's going to pay his penance for what he did. Now you got the league. NFL Films is through the league. That's the NFL's legendary filmmakers and highlight reel putter-togethers. They've taken the tweet down. Now you got Louis Riddick today on a Friday apologizing. It was not intended to be a hit piece. It was a hit piece, Lou. How do you read that and go, hold on a second, what are we doing here? We're doing low lights of this guy. Brian Branch is one of the best safeties in the game. He had a bad game. And he had a bad night. This is absolute bullcrap. Piling on. All week, the Lions have had to go through this. And I got news for you. I hope the Lions are pissed. And I haven't read the article yet. Corey Woods wrote a piece on MLive. He went through the locker room and talked to some of Branch's teammates, and they're pissed. And on Monday night against the Tampa Bay Bucks in front of a national TV audience, I hope the Lions players take it out on the Bucks, some of their frustrations, because they've been piled on by the league. It's BS. I'll tell you when I think the Lions are whining and crying. I'll tell you when Brian Branch acts like a fool. All right, I'll do that. But that was Sunday night. He got suspended Monday. He appealed. They heard the appeal. They kept the suspension. That's it. Hit piece videos narrated by somebody that you're in bed with, ESPN, and one of their guys is weak sauce. And that will not help Louis Riddick's case to become a general manager in the league. I can tell you this. If one day Brad Holmes were to leave, and Brad Holmes is going to be with the Lions a long time as their general manager, and Louis Riddick interviewed for the Lions general manager's job years ago, I can guarantee he'll never interview again, in Detroit at least. Louis at least manned up on his Twitter, admitted that it was not how it should have looked. But regardless, how do you tell me that you read a script, look something over, and voice that, and it gets put out, and nobody put a stop to that and said, hold on a second here, we are piling on this player? Is it because it's the Chiefs? I think it's really, really lame. Really lame. And I'm going to defend the Lions and Brian Branch here 100%. I cannot wait for Monday night because I think there's going to be some angry Lion players going to be focused on this game and getting a win and winning it for their teammate who's not there. All right, coming up next, we got a little injury update. Could we see a defensive back for the Lions that we didn't think was playing? Could he play on Monday night? We will explain coming up next, right here on Locked On Lions. And a busy Friday show here on Locked On Lions, as Locked On Lions is sponsored by Betterhelp. October 10th was World Mental Health Day, and this year we're saying thank you to the therapists. Life can be tough on and off the field, and behind millions of mental health journeys are therapists who showed up, listened, and helped people take a step forward. Amen to that. BetterHelp is shining the spotlight on those connections while also making it simple for you to find support whenever you need it. All right. If you've ever thought about trying therapy, this is the perfect reminder that help is out there and the right therapist can make all the difference. All right. This World Mental Health Day, join us and take a step forward. If you're ready to start your own journey, BetterHelp can help you find the right therapist. Our listeners here on Locked On Lions can get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/lockedon. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/lockedon. And the Locked On Lions today also brought to you by our friends at PrizePicks. Hey, every day we make decisions, right? But on PrizePicks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with our friends at PrizePicks, where it is good to be right. You play PrizePicks. Why? Because it's fun. It's a simple way to add more excitement to NFL Sundays. You just pick more or less on player projections, like Josh Allen's passing yards or Jahmyr Gibbs rushing for a touchdown, and you are in the game. I love how quick it is. You can make your lineup in just under a minute. Plus PrizePicks just added stacks. Player, you passing yards, rush downs. You do that. If you're or something, it won't count against you. Download the you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDON for $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, it's good to be right. I'm back in a Friday edition of Locked On Lions. Lions and Bucks coming up. Tampa Bay coming to Ford Field for the third straight year now. Playoffs a couple of years ago. Remember that in 2023 when the Lions defeated Tampa Bay in the postseason. Last year, week 2, Bucks got the better of the Lions in week 2, like I said, in the 2024 campaign. Now here in 2025, Tampa's got the best record in the NFC and tied for the best record in the NFL at 5-1. How about the two best teams in the NFL right now? Tampa at 5-1 and Indianapolis. That's right. Jace Derry's Colts are 5-1. Daniel Jones and company, Shane Steichen's club, playing some good rock right now. Lions at 4-2 have not lost back-to-back games in over 2 years. So this will be a big test for them for Monday Night Football with the Bucs coming in. All right, quick injury update. Great news today at practice here on Friday. Taylor Decker returned to practice. He has not practiced in weeks. Of course, has missed the last two games with a shoulder injury. And the hope is that he's back for Monday night. Remember, it was 2 weeks ago that Giovanni Manu started in his place at left tackle. And this past Sunday night against Kansas City, Dan Skipper was the starter at left tackle. So Taylor Decker back at practice, certainly a good sign for the Lions to get their top left tackle back, their veteran leader and one of their captains in Taylor Decker. Also, not a surprise today, no practice for Kirby Joseph. That knee has been bothering him, excuse me, for the last couple of weeks. They're still hopeful that he might be able to play. But if Kirby Joseph can't go, your guess is as good as mine as the two safeties that are going to start this game. There's a chance you're going to see Rock Yassin and Thomas Harper. Harper, we know, is going to play for Brian Branch. But the Lions are going to have to dig very, very deep into their depth chart to get healthy bodies back there in the secondary. Good news today, and this was a bit of a surprise. Terrion Arnold, all right, also sore shoulder and all. Also, first glance by a doctor, was going to be out for a while. Practiced today. Now, the Lions have an extra day here with the Monday night game. So could we see Terrion as early as Monday night? Dan Campbell alluded to it the other day that that's probably unlikely, but he was added to practice today as a full participant. So if they can get any of these guys back, because you're not going to have DJ Reed, you're not going to have Avonte Maddox. I didn't think you were going to have Terrion Arnold. Kirby Joseph's on one leg. Brian Branch is suspended. Khalil Dorsey is out. Trey Flowers is on the practice squad right now. Kendall Fuller is on the practice squad right now. Lauren Strickland, was let go, brought back. He's a question mark. Lions have, like I said, Rock Yassin, but this was not the expected, depth chart at defensive back just a few weeks ago. But Lions have got to play through it. Amik Robertson is going to have to play a big role in this game, especially if Mike Evans is healthy enough and ready to play for the Bucs this coming Monday night. Also, some keys to a victory, because we're not going to be on with you until Monday evening following the game. And one thing that the Lions must do, all right, if Baker Mayfield goes off, the Lions are going to lose, all right? And I get it. I think the Lions are going to bounce back. I think the Lions are going to win a close game. They are 5.5-point favorites for a reason. They're at home, first home game in a couple of weeks. But one thing that I've noticed with Baker Mayfield is he has taken care of the football in a big-time way this season. And you look at it, fourth in the NFL in yards right now. He's thrown for 1,539 yards. He has thrown the ball downfield. I think he's got 8 touchdown passes already this year of 20 yards or more. He's 6th in the league right now in passer rating at 108.5. Only Lamar Jackson, our own Jared Goff, Sam Darnold, Drake May, and Jordan Love have a higher number. But here's one thing that Baker Mayfield is doing that the Lions, if they want to win this game, have got to flip the switch on. Baker Mayfield has thrown 12 touchdowns this year, the first 6 weeks of the season. He has thrown 1 interception. Now, Jared Goff, also very good. 14 TDs, 2 picks. All right? That's got to change if the Lions want to win this game. They've got to turn the ball over, or they've got to not turn the ball over themselves, but they got to get a couple of turnovers in this game. And I think if the Lions can get just one interception out of Baker Mayfield, I think they can win this game. He's only thrown 1 the first 6 weeks. He has been that good. He has been that solid. He has been that dependable. But man, I think a big key in this game is somebody stepping in front of a pass, deflecting a pass, and flipping the field in the Lions' direction. It's a huge key in this game. The other key, and we talked about it yesterday with James Yarko, and he's very concerned about, is Luke Gedeke, their starting right tackle, is out. Heck is in his place, the backup right tackle. So that means Aiden Hutchinson, he'll see Tristan Wirfs on that left side. He's as good a left tackle as there is. But if Hutch is lined up on that right side, opposite of Heck and Charlie Heck, and getting an opportunity to get after Baker Mayfield from Mayfield's right side, Hutchinson had a monster game last year against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay played like 3 different left tackles last year in that game, and it was a disaster for them. They ended up winning the game anyway, but a big game from Hutch going up against another backup at tackle, this time at right tackle. I think those are 2 big keys, certainly, to this victory for the Lions, if they can get it on Monday night. Bucs don't make a lot of mistakes, and they played a lot of close games, but they're due to lose. Tampa's good, all right, but I'm not sitting here telling you, oh my God, if Tampa doesn't have Emeka Egbuka, Chris Godwin, Evans, I think is going to play. Bucky Irving's already out, right? Kalijah Cansey's out. Vita Vea, watch him in the middle of that defense. He is just so good, so good. All right, if you watched last night's Thursday night game, you saw an absolute beauty between the Bengals and the Steelers. It was very, very entertaining. Something took place in that game that I want to talk about. We'll talk about that coming up next here on a Friday, Locked On Lions. And the Locked On Lions for today is brought to you by our friends at Mazda. And I'm looking for the Mazda liner here, and there it is. Yes, Mazda. They craft cars for those who do more than simply move. Mazda delivers confidence with every ride, with more IIHS Top Safety Pick Awards than anyone else, right? From footwork to breathwork, athletes, they sweat all the details. But at Mazda, they bring the same intention to how we craft every model. You can make everyday drives feel like anything but, from smooth handling to intuitive controls. Like our players, we sweat every detail, but because when you make every move count, impossible does become irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. And Locked On Lions also brought to you by Rugiet. What do you get when you have a bald eagle standing on top of a silverback gorilla riding a T-Rex? Confidence, pure confidence. If you're looking for something beyond the usual pill in the bedroom, it is time to meet Rugiet Go Long. All right. You've probably heard of Viagra or Cialis, but maybe even tried them. But if you're looking for something beyond that usual pill, like I said, you got to check out what Rugiet Go Long does. It's not just another ED pill. It's a total game changer for confidence. All right. The effects can last up to 36 hours. That's confidence all day, all night, and even into the next day. The process is simple. Connect with a board-certified doctor, 100% online, and if you're prescribed, your treatment ships discreetly right to your door. All right? Ready to level up your confidence in the bedroom? Rugiet. Go there now. Rugiet.com. That's RUGIET.com. And use the promo code LOCKEDONNFL for 15% off your first order. Rugiet.com, promo code LOCKEDONNFL, RUGIET. Make sure to check out, I should say, make sure to use our code at checkout so that they know that we sent you. All right, here's a lesson, folks, and it is a reminder about how lucky that we are that here in Detroit, we've got very good front office brass. We've got excellent ownership. We've got a program here down at 222 Rodwood Drive that just is a winning operation. The Lions have won the division the last 2 years. They're trying to make it 3 straight. They're off to a nice 4-2 start. All right. They're building a foundation, and they've built a foundation. Last night, you saw something. Joe Flacco was traded within the division from the Cleveland Browns to the Cincinnati Bengals because the Bengals, as we saw when the Lions played them, desperate for any kind of a quarterback. Flacco takes on the Steelers last night, short week in Cincinnati, and they beat Pittsburgh. Cincinnati does, behind 342 yards and 3 touchdowns from Flacco, 33-31. It was a fun game. Pittsburgh's defense was terrible. Jamar Chase had like 16 catches. He was targeted over 20 times, and Flacco delivered a win for Cincinnati. Now, I'm not telling you that the Bengals picked up their quarterback of the future or a future All-Pro or a Pro Bowler this year. The guy's 40 years old, but he's much better than Jake Browning, and he helped them win. The Cleveland Browns named Joe Flacco their starting quarterback at the start of the year. He started, 4 games, and then got demoted. They went with a rookie, Dylan Gabriel, who's not much better. And the Browns shipped Flacco off to Cincinnati within the division for a 5th-round pick. Mike Tomlin goes ballistic this week, calls out Andrew Berry, the general manager of the Browns, and says, why are they trading their starting quarterback that they liked weeks ago within the division to help a division opponent? It's absolutely hilarious. And for Flacco last night, it's a great story. He was going up against another 40-year-old quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. They both played well. Rodgers is balling out for the Steelers. But it was a nice story. But it's a reminder about how you must have in this league good ownership. Lions have it. Good general manager. Lions have it. Head coach that knows what he's doing. Lions have that. And a quarterback. And the Lions have all 4 of those things. The Browns have none. I like Kevin Stefanski. I'll give them 1 out of 4. I think he's a good coach. I think he's been saddled with a bad roster. But my goodness gracious, that is just, they were yelling, thank you, Cleveland, on the postgame show on Amazon last night as they were interviewing Flacco. Within the division, imagine like the Vikings or Packers trading their starting quarterback to the Lions. If the Lions needed a quarterback, that would never happen. The Lions would never do that either. And when the Lions traded their starting quarterback, Matthew Stafford, they did it in the offseason, and they acquired a pretty darn good quarterback in return in Jared Goff. So, remarkable story. All right, we are going to be with you again Monday following the game. There will be a live show. Jake Riepma and the crew from the Locked On Lions squad show, they'll be live. I'll be with you likely an hour and a half after the game with a fresh episode of this show, Locked On Lions. Next week, I got a little vacay coming. So, or the week after, I'll be off the week. A couple of shows. You won't miss me too much. But anyway, Lions and Bucks. I like the Lions. I think the Lions win this game 27-24. I think Detroit wins on Monday night. I think they bounce back. We will talk to you again on Monday following the game for Lions and Tampa Bay. See you, everybody.